So if you're like me, you've probably seen the Godfather trilogy about 10 or 15 times. But there's a few things that you may not have noticed about the trilogy that may have slipped by or you just weren't aware of. Like, number one, the symbolism of oranges throughout the Godfather trilogy. Now, this is a pretty popular one that, real die-hard Godfather fans do know, but just for those that may not be aware, the symbolism of oranges throughout the Godfather is really important, because the oranges appear throughout every major scene, major plot point. Like, for example, number one, when Don Corleone gets shot up in the streets, he's actually carrying a bag of oranges. Or when Vito Corleone dies with his grandson, he puts orange peels in his mouth. Another example where you can see oranges in a major scene in Godfather 1 would be at the table with the meeting with Waltz, which ultimately led to a not so good ending when Waltz woke up the next morning with his prized horse's head in his bed covered in blood. Number 2. In Godfather 2, the character of Hyman Roth is actually loosely based off of a real person by the name of Meyer Lansky. Meyer Lansky, much like Hyman Roth, was a Jewish gangster with notable ties within the Italian mob. Meyer Lansky and Hyman Roth also tried to flee the country due to tax evasion and tried to flee to Israel before ultimately being denied.
I went to Israel because I wished to live there as a Jew in the twilight of my life.
And lastly, Godfather 3. Now I already know what all the Godfather fans are thinking. Screw Godfather 3, horrible movie. Let's pretend Godfather 3 never even happened. What the hell were they thinking? But I'm still just going to make a note of something that you may not have known about Godfather 3. The character of Mary Corleone is actually played by Sofia Coppola, who is the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola, the director of the Godfather trilogy. So that's just a few fun facts about the Godfather trilogy that maybe the average viewer wasn't aware of. In future videos, I'd like to go more in depth on the symbolism and other things that the average viewer may not know. I want to know from you, the fans, if you can comment, let me know things that you may have noticed, whether it's symbolism, whether it's mistakes, and no, the Godfather 3 as a whole is not going to count as a mistake.